We are excited to announce our new partnership with Lucci, a top brand TCG accessories. Whether you are into One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or you just have a favorite anime, this is the right place for you. And with the code HILL5 or by shopping through the link down below, you'll get 5% of your order while also supporting our channel. Big thanks to Slivchief and to all of you for supporting us. Now back to the video.
Hello guys and welcome back on the channel. In today's video we are here with GIONNI, Enrico and FRENK. So hi guys. And we are going to talk about the regional that has just ended, the Bologna's regional, because we have the first results of the post-banlist meta and we are going to break down and talk about it. So I would say let's start with the deck list. The first deck list is from the first place RAYLEIGH, and this is a terrible player. Yeah? So Enrico, this is your list. So
for the deck list, I think most people knows by now, but okay, it's quite standard actually. This the RAYLEIGH list I chose. We prepared together also with GIONNI and FRENK here. The only thing that I think is quite off is the 2-cost Luffys. I think now most people is running those because they realize that is a good card. Radical Beam as well. I think he was one of the MVPs of the tournament. For the rest, is quite standard. I didn't see any. I mean, I also faced a lot of RAYLEIGHs in the tournament, and I didn't really see crazy stuff that I was not aware of. I faced a guy in top 8. He was playing Vista. I don't think that card is good at all. But then for the rest, I think it's a deck that. It doesn't really have a lot of spots available for flex cards, so I think my list is very close to what is the perfect 50 cards, and then everyone has like different playstyle probably, so those cards might change. But I think the raids are quite mandatory because you want to play 18 searchers, 18 targets for both Nami and Buggy, and then you can play either 22 or 24 for Bo and Shaku, but I'm comfortable with 24, so that's why I went with this list.
In second place, we have a Vegapunk. So had you already tested the deck in this meta, or it was a complete surprise? Do you think that we'll be seeing more of it in the near future?
I was not really expecting to face a Vegapunk in the tournament, so actually facing it in the finals was quite unexpected. I think I was one of the very few people in the tournament that really knew how to play against Vegapunk and what can Vegapunk does, because I played it in the past a lot, but I didn't really test it out in this meta. One of my friends told me that it was could have been a meta call, but yeah, to be honest, he always says that for a really bad deck, so I didn't really take that into account as a serious thing. But then yeah, okay, when I played in finals against this deck, I realized it was actually quite well positioned in the meta. When it comes to the list, I think except for a couple of things, for Vegapunk you really have a lot of mandatory cards, like basically all the Vegapunks and all the versions like Atlas, Pythagoras, Lilith. All these cards are quite mandatory. Shaka, and then I can see the guy decided to play Bonney. This was not a really popular card in the past in this deck, but especially when I played in finals, it was a very good card. And I think when you try to play that kind of control matchup, since you also have access to the Reshishi, you can kind of play that matchup and win with the kids. Bonney can really help you out in that. For the rest, the stage, I'm not a big fan of. Actually, it was kind of a brick for him as well in 2 out of 3 games. But for the rest, I agree. I think it's a nice list. It can be for sure improved. And I also think this deck can be a really good call in the meta. It's quite well positioned against RAYLEIGH. I think he struggles against some other decks, but it's one of those decks that can really play against everyone. So it's similarly to RAYLEIGH, it's quite explosive, and yeah, most of the times you can just play. And it was a really good call for that tournament because I think most people didn't know how to play against it, and that is also why it was very successful for the guy. So it was a really good call. I like it.
So in third place we have Blackbeard. So I would say unexpected placement for this deck. What you think about the deck in this meta? Is well positioned? or do you think that you need a little bit of luck to do good with it?
Well, I think the deck is actually well positioned. I didn't think it was that good at the start of the format, but testing it more, I think you are like the bad matchups are OP Luffy and GP Luffy, and outside of that, I think you can play pretty well against everything. So I think it was a really good call for Bologna as well, because I don't think many people expected it to be played that much and to top that much. And I like the deck list as well. Outside of the 6-cost Liberation, which I don't love, I would play 2 6-cost Kuzan maybe instead of that. But yeah, I like the deck list is pretty much like 48 cards, 46, 48 cards are pretty stable in the deck list right now. So it's pretty close to this one.
Okay, so you said that UP and GP are the only real bad matchups. So what can we say about the Zoro matchup? Do you think that this deck can manage to bring it on a 50-50 maybe?
Yeah, I think 50-50 is definitely like the case. You have a lot of outplays you can do with the deck. You have 6-cost Kuzan, which is really good in the matchup because you can play it on 6 and attack with 4-cost character, or you can even have it like on 8, you can play Kuzan and have 2 dons open, which means that the Zoro player has no good play no real good play. He either develops fort and you can just free clear, or he goes for the attack and you just block black and the black hole and you take a 5-cost Kuzan or a Managu from the trash. So you have a lot of outplays and you actually punk a lot right now with the deck with 3 black holes, the 2-cost spell. So I'm pretty sure you're not fan favorite into Zoro with this kind of list. Pretty sure about that. And also one thing about the deck list that I don't agree with is that I think you have to play Tempest at least 3 right now in the meta. Because they're really good when the opponent takes their own turn for breaking your loop, your setup. You can just reset up again with the 1-cost spell. It's good in some spots against RAYLEIGH because you can just 1-cost spell Q and then you can play like Lafitte to get value. It's good against OP. It's really good in the meta, I think.
To close out our top 4, we have a Fisherman Bonney, so particular deck list. What do you think about the deck in this meta? Do you think that this Fisherman version is better than the normal one? And is this deck the best deck? Because we have seen a lot of it topping, and I think that is really well positioned in the meta.
Bonney was one of the best pick because I have a nice matchup spread. I don't know about the fish list because I don't see it work, but I think this list have done 10-0 in Swiss, so 10-0 in Swiss and top 4 should be really a great list, and I think Bonney is the most consistent deck, a nice matchup spread. Yeah, I don't like green, so I didn't bring this deck for this reason. But I think at least in OP12 we should have ever 1 or 2 Bonney in top 8, and not a pick that lose against the meta, and the matchup that the Bonney wins, it wins too much easy. I think that RAYLEIGH is a nice matchup that I think will be played even more, and yeah, too much powerful card. Mioka has no sense, and Odi a nice pick.
So for this list, this was the guy that I played in top 4. Was a really good player as well. I'm not sure if the list with the Fishman is actually better than the classic one. It was for sure more menacing in the sense that they had more 2Ks available, but in the way that I played this matchup with RAYLEIGH was not really that relevant. I think it's smart to play the Vanderdegen and the Arlong because they give you a much better matchup against some of the worst matchups of Bonney. The Arlong is quite flexible in this meta. You can really use it against RAYLEIGH, for example, to freeze the leader 1 turn to not die from the to never doubt. It's good against Zoro, of course. I think it's mostly there for that. So it's really good. What I'm missing from this list is that he's playing the full Fishman package, but there is not really a searcher for those. So I think they're just there to support the Vander deck and engine. So that's the main reason. For the rest, I'm not a really big fan of not playing the Bonnie's one cost, because you cannot really search the kits. That sometimes might be the winning card. But overall, the deck did really well, so probably it's one of the ways to play it. I think Bonney is also becoming quite flexible as a deck, since the leader is quite generic. Of course, you have some staples like 8 cost Mihawk, Cavendish, Carrots, and all the blockers, Holy Jones, of course. But overall, I think this opens up a lot of ways to play the deck and shows that Bonney can be actually played in different ways. So I think it was very smart for this guy to play this version, and he was also a really good player. So as I said before, also a very nice result. I think Bonney, as Frank said as well, was really well positioned in the meta. Maybe if we see an increase of Teach representation, it's going to be a bit worse. We also saw some Luccis, some Sakas, so Bonney might fade away if those decks increase in popularity, but I think still the deck is positioned very well in the meta, so I think it will see it topping quite a lot.
So in top 8, we have an old deck making his return, that is Lucci, played by one of the best Lucci players in the world, Zani Mirko. So what you think about the deck in this meta? Do you think that is a good pick, or the matchup with Zoro is too bad to play it?
First of all, congratulations to Mirko. And in my opinion, Lucci was a nice pick at the start of the meta. Is ever a nice pick because he can face every type of deck. I like the list. In my opinion, it's balanced, but the only way to counter Zoro is to play, in my opinion, Black Vortex, that put a percentage better in this matchup. You have to play Kusan 10. The only matchup that, in my opinion, is really unwinnable, I try a little bit of the list, is UP, Luffy UP. It's, in my opinion, really hard. But it's not so popular like the other one. And yeah, it's a nice pick. I don't know if it should be a nice pick for the next tournament, because Lucci is ever a deck that people, if know how counter, steal the dice is important. If go first or go second, you don't know how is the right things at the start of the meta, because the list change and is a lot for the table. But yeah, I like the ratio of the card. It's nice list for a nice pick, and yeah, congratulations.
I also think this was a really good call for the first tournament post-banned, almost like the last banned in OP10. But the problem with Lucci, I think, is that going forward, is like there are gonna be more Teach players and more P players. I think those two matchups are like unwinnable probably. So I think he's gonna get worse by every tournament. So it was a really nice call for this one. I think overall the deck is not as well positioned as others right now.
So we have another spicy deck in top 8, that is a Kalgara by Stefano Vinci, that is a really good Magic player. So what do you think about the list?
So I know Stefano is widely known to play quite unusual decks. I was surprised to see him as a yellow player this time instead of playing red, who is quite famous for that. But I also like Kalgara quite a lot. I think it can be a good meta call in this meta. I'm not a big fan of it because I think the RAYLEIGH matchup might be very difficult. But I really like his list. I think it's quite consistent. He plays all the cards that I will play as well. I was surprised to see the one cost events that destroy something. So probably, yeah, I don't know for which targets he decided to include that card. I think, from what I know, I think he's gonna release also some content about this deck, probably a guide or like videos, or that's what I understood from Stefano. But I also know he's a really good player, and he knows a lot of theory of the game. So if you're interested in playing Kalgara, I think this is probably the list to play at the moment. The deck overall, I think it's decent. It's not top tier, but I think it can be. It's in between tier 1 and 3, so can be considered a tier 2, sometimes 1.5. But yeah, I was never a big yellow player, so I don't know if I would have brought this one. But indeed, a really good result from him. Top 8 is great with such a deck. So congrats.
The last deck of our top 8 is Green Zoro. I will say is the big disappointment of this meta, because I would have expected to see a lot more of Zoros in top. Maybe just one Zoro in top 8 is a little bit poor. But what do you guys think about the deck? Do you think that it underperformed because there was too much really bad matchup spread? What do you think about the deck in general?
In my opinion, this deck has the problem that really is a really, in my opinion, unwinnable matchup. So it's really hard if the player of Rayleigh manage it perfectly. Has a lot of insane card. In my opinion, Mihawk, Tashiji, in my opinion, is the best card of OP12. No sense card, too much value. The deck, in my opinion, is not really hard to play, but you have to know the spots to do your stuff. The problem, because there was only one in top 8. I think all the lists that we have seen run at least 2 or 3 cards against Zoro. I think that was the main target of the list to counter, because probably a lot of people suppose that Zoro should be the most bring deck. In fact, I think was the most representative. And there are cards like Black Vortex in Black deck, or UP was run at least for Zoro, that can counter a lot of this deck, but it's powerful, has a lot of great play, a lot of searchers, so doesn't break. Yeah, I think in OP13 would be a nice deck too.
Yeah, I think the main problem with Zoro is that it's always gonna do not the best in top cut, in my opinion, because everybody knows how to play against it, and every deck has good answers to it, which are not like Black has Black Vortex, which is a card that is not a bad card into other matchups. It's like a general good card you can run, so everybody's gonna run it, and your theoretical good matchups are not even that great with people running deck cards against Zoro. So I think that's the main problem with the deck right now.
So I think Zoro was indeed the deck that everyone expected, because it was the new one. At least for myself, I was expecting a lot of Zoros and Rayleighs, because first tournament, a lot of people, they want to play the new thing, so I was expecting both. Problem with Zoro, as the other guys said already, is it was too expected, I believe, and in Top Cut it would have been indeed difficult to go through with this deck. From my personal experience, I only played one Zoro in the whole tournament. It was one in Swiss. So I was actually expecting to play at least 3 in the whole run. And then in the end, I played only 1. I think whomever showed up to the tournament, they had at least some kind of plan in mind to win against Zoro. So I think that was the problem of the deck. Everybody was expecting it as the most represented deck. And it's also the classic situation where everybody expects this, they have a plan against it, and then if you bring the deck to the tournament, you will have to face at least 10 rounds of people knowing what your deck does, what is their game plan against you, all the best plays against you. So I think it's very complex to play such a deck in the first tournament. I think he will do better in the next ones while the meta stabilizes, because it's still a good deck. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of green myself, so I don't believe in this deck, but still the power level as the other guy said, it's very high. The new cards are just busted. It's a big power creep. And I believe it will just get better as we go on in the meta. So for now, in first tournament, I wouldn't have played it, but later on it will be better, I think, once we have some stability.
So, one last question about this event and the meta in general. Do you think that the meta will stabilize and we will see always more and more RAYLEIGH and Bonnies? Or do you think that the meta will shake up and we will see the return of Black's deck, maybe less Zoros, and something spicy?
In my opinion, I don't think the meta will change too much from what we saw in these tournaments. I think RAYLEIGH and Zoro will be still played a lot. Maybe after RAYLEIGH's success, it will increase quite a bit. So the Zoros will go down a little bit. If Zoro goes down, then maybe the decks that struggle against Zoro will go up again. But I believe the most played decks will stay the same. Probably it's going to be RAYLEIGH, Zoro, Bonney. And then I think Teach might take the place that GP used to have. I think GP was one of the most played, but I saw like it decreased a lot. I saw a lot less than I expected. So maybe Teach will go up again because it's a good deck that you can build against like those tier 1.5 decks. It's good against Shanks, Bonney, all these decks. So and a lot of people that played Teach in the past, they will go back to that because they like the deck. For the rest, yeah, we might see an increase in Snake Man. Again, I think the deck is still good, but it's difficult to build. And yeah, it really depends how it's gonna develop. We might see a rise in like Sakazukis, for example, depending on the meta. But yeah, overall some counter decks, but I think the big three will stay the same. I think Bonney, RAYLEIGH, and Zoro will stay the most played probably, and then all the rest will come afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with Enrico. I think those three decks are still gonna be like the best three decks in the format. I actually think OP and Teach have the best potential to be close to those decks. And yeah, everything else I think is like tier 2 onwards.
In my opinion, who has ever played Bonney still will play Bonney. Who has ever who play Teach will still play Teach. And for this reason, the meta does not change a lot. The best deck are this one, yeah, I agree with the guys. I don't think that there is some spot for a strange deck or something innovative. The only thing is that this meta is, in my opinion, too much deck. You can face every deck. There are too much polarized matchup. Deck like Teach, when the meta is stabilized, can rise and attach card because it's a deck that can attach for every matchup. Will be more present in this metagame.
So thank you guys so much for your time, and I hope that the video was useful. And thank you again, and see you in the next video. Bye.
Thank you.